Greetings, traveler. Have you ever been in a situation where you need to create a new concept for a game, or it's one of your tasks at work as a game designer to come up with a new project, and you just don't know where to find motivation for something that would be fun and brand new for people to experience? Well, today we're going to talk about a new source of motivation for these kind of situations, and I'm going to give you my 3-step process for how to take that all the way from experimental to the actual step where you have the concept ready for your game. My name is Xanthos. I've been working in the games industry for over 13 years now. And before I begin today, I want to give a shout out to Geek J, my friend who took a look at my audio setup, found out several issues that I had because I know nothing about sound, and he saved me in this situation. And also I want to link below his channel and the specific video that I followed to fix up my sound setup. So if you're interested in that, please check it out below. So let's jump into the new game concept. So there's many areas where we can look for motivation for our game concepts, right? It could be games we played, it could be movies we watched, it could be, just other things that we want to see in a game. That's what motivates us. There is, however, one specific thing I want to talk about today. And maybe it's easier to understand if you think about when you were a child and you are playing out in the garden or in the playground or in some new room that you've never been in before, and you find this object or this little insect or a strange rock or whatever. And as soon as you find that, you think it's exciting because you've never seen something like that before. Maybe it's a little bug or a little spider or something. So the first thing you want to do, there's a very specific feeling that people get in this situation, is, if possible, capture it and show it to someone. So share it. This will be the first step of our framework. So you go out in the world, you discover something new, at least to yourself. And when you get this feeling that this is cool, I should show it to someone. I should show it to my parents or my friends or somebody who would appreciate this. When you get this feeling, then you know that this is something worth sharing and that this is something that others want to see. So we can translate this feeling directly into a game, but this thing can also happen later on in our life as adults maybe or as teenagers when we play actual video games and we find a very cool component of a game that we want to highlight in our version. So for example, let's say you're playing a game where you have a character and you have your character model in third person and you run around the city and you drive cars and you do all sorts of action stuff. But let's say that in that game you particularly like the way cars drive around. You like the physics and the feeling of driving cars in that game. And you think, well, what if I used this specific setting, but instead of focusing on the action that the character takes while on foot, I focused more on the driving part of that game. And this could be a motivation for creating a brand new game concept all on your own. So this is the step one where you just find this new thing that you want to share. And in the next step, we're going to talk about how to prototype it. So step two is the prototyping of this thing. Now, by prototyping, you might think that I'm talking about creating a new project in Unity or in Unreal and running in and doing all sorts of settings. This is actually not necessary. And in fact, you don't need to have any coding skill or understanding of game engines or anything like that to do it. I think that one of the biggest cheats as a game designer is using what's already there out for us in video games. Maybe going a little bit into the modding scene if you're interested in that, but basically with zero technical work, you can try out your concept. So how do you do that? Well, you go into the game where you want to test out your new game concept and you artificially create rules for yourself. So for example, if we go with the example of doing the driving game from the example before, then what if you set some goals for yourself, like drive from point A to point B in the game and try to never go on foot, or try to race from point A to point B in that game, only using the car, and see if that experience is enjoyable. If it's a multiplayer game, perhaps you can set a route inside the city and only using the cars available in the game without ever getting out of the car. You do a, let's say, 3-lap race with your friend and see if that's enjoyable. And if that's something you or your friend would enjoy enough to want to repeat again. So this is the prototyping stage, where you use an existing game or a game that's already modded, so you don't have to do any additional work on yourself on the technical side, to simply test out if the thing you have in mind would indeed be interesting enough for other people to play in its own bespoke game. So after you've done that, and after you've made sure that this is indeed an interesting concept, then you can go ahead and create your first prototype in Unity or Unreal or whatever engine you feel is appropriate for this, and see how actually you can transfer that feeling. First of all, if you can transfer that feeling and that specific gameplay to your version, and this is the exciting part, how you can further on enhance it now that you have complete control over the environment. You can add the elements you want, you can add all the game mechanics you want, you can truly customize it to highlight as much as possible the thing that you want to show off in this experience. So if we continue with the car racing example, then now that you finally created your own version, you can add, let's say, supercars in the game and show off even more how good it would feel to drive around a city like this. Or if you think that this would be more fun with bicycles, then you can add bicycles in the game and explore that gameplay. So that's the time when you polish your experience and, again, make sure that people appreciate it and they love this feeling, and then you can go on to sell the game. So I know this is a very simple framework, but I've personally many times in my career felt stuck when somebody says, hey, we need to create something entirely new. We cannot have any derivative work. So going out into the world, playing a lot of experimental games, watching experimental movies, playing with physical toys in ways that you just thought on the spot is always a good source of motivation, and it has personally helped me create original content loads of times. So if that's helpful to you, or if you know someone who is looking for this very fresh, very unique experience, perhaps you can share this video with them and let me know their feedback. Anyway, that's it for today. As always, thank you so much for your time, and have fun.